And I have in studio with me this morning Connor Orban and Alina Orban. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming in. So good to see you. So, first of all, Connor, you're the president, and Alina, executive director, correct?
Correct.
All right. So let's start out with the two of you just telling us a little bit about yourselves.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate the opportunity again. So, I come over from corporate America, and, what really drove me into getting into this industry is I grew up with a brother with cerebral palsy and passed away, unfortunately, in 2011. But, he really changed who I am as a person, and one thing about Alina and I, is we're very compassionate, with really helping those in need. And so, really truthfully deep down, like everything I do every day, what gets me up in the morning, really, I get excited to really help out, our individuals and our clients. And, I'm just so fortunate to have, over 100 employees now who really all have that same passion and same mission. And, I really enjoy just seeing what this company's turning into, and so, I'm blessed to have, my wife on board now and, really take this company to, the level that we can serve more clients around the area and, hopefully further into Ohio.
And are you guys from this area?
Yes.
We are.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're from North Canton. We're both Hoover grads.
Mm-hmm.
We met back in 2011, the North Canton YMCA. So, we come from this area. I was a Cincinnati Bearcat, and came back to, really kind of dig my roots back into Northeast Ohio, North Canton, and, been married since 2016, and two young kids now, so.
Oh, boy.
Very blessed, yes.
We're busy.
Yeah, very busy. That's right.
So a little bit about my history is I went to school and worked for 8 years as a physician assistant in a local emergency department. So there I really got the opportunity to see firsthand what a critical need there is for transportation. I would see patients that come in almost on a daily basis that either their family members weren't able to take them to doctor's appointments or they themselves felt too ill and they were not able to drive. So really seeing their health decline because they weren't able to get to these life-saving appointments. So then they would end up in the emergency department. And maybe they would be so sick they would end up in the ICU. Sometimes these patients wouldn't recover from this really detriment of not being able to have the transportation. So I was able to see firsthand what an issue this is for people that don't have transportation. And it really makes me passionate about what we do every day.
Yeah. And I venture to say there's probably so many people out there listening right now that are shaking their heads yes, right along with us, for sure. So ReliaRide is the name right now, but you guys were called something else up until just, a few weeks ago, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's correct. So Scenic View Transportation was our former name, and we, since 2012, when our family took over ownership of the company, which was a for-profit up until 2013, we took the name because of the reputation it had in the community. Our clients really enjoyed, the high-quality service that we provided to them. And so we, kind of always talked about changing the name to kind of more represent who we are.
Yeah.
But we kind of held back just because of that reputation we had. So, when we transitioned to a nonprofit, and we really started talking to other people and getting a lot more calls and our customer base started increasing, we really started finding that our name was really misrepresented to the community. Mm-hmm. And so, we partnered with Innis Majori, who's been a fantastic company to work with, and, decided to go through a bunch of lists of names, and ReliaRide, came to our final conclusion with the help of a lot of our staff members and employees, because it really symbolizes who we are. Mm-hmm. We're a reliable service, and the heart in our logo, stands for our mission and our passion, and kind of taking somebody from point A to point B. So,
yeah.
It's been a blessing, and we love the name. Mm-hmm.
It's perfect.
Yes.
It is perfect. Yeah. Because Scenic View Transportation, although it's a very nice name, would make me think I'd be calling you to see if you can take a bus of us to a trip to wherever the heck.
Exactly.
You know?
That's it.
We got a lot of those phone calls over there.
I bet you did.
Yes. So no, I think the name is very, very important. We obviously at the end of the day though, it's all about customer service.
Yeah.
And treating people like family. And I always say we provide that gentleman service. We're going to give an arm to hold on to. We're going to take you door to door, or if not door through door. And just kind of be that extended family member to you. Just like everybody was for my brother. And that's really the biggest passion that all of our drivers take. And I think it's so easy to run a business full of passionate people. It's everybody says owning a business is tough. It's not when you have the right people behind you.
Yeah, when you care about something. So how does this all work? For folks who are listening, they're thinking, okay, is this just medical things? Is this everything? How does it work?
It's a bunch of different options. Most majority of our trips are medical appointments. We partner with a lot of the JFS programs around Northeast Ohio. The MyCare Ohio, which is the Medicare and Medicaid dual benefits, those insurances do pay for this type of transportation. We partner with a lot of nursing homes around Northeast Ohio, but the way it kind of works is that the clients, will qualify for transportation, but they'll need to schedule and get pre-authorization through their insurance agencies. And then the brokers that actually schedule all the trips will send us as the transportation provider the trips. So we do take private pay clients as well that can book directly through us. But one of the biggest advantages of our company versus a lot of our competition is that we have a very large staff in our office that is all very highly educated and highly trained to help guide our clients who may not understand how the system works, to help give them the best advice of who to call, how to qualify for transportation that might be subsidized or free. And if not, how to schedule a trip with us. So, that's really, really, unheard of anymore in today's, business environment. Is usually you're talking to an AI or you're talking to a, teleprompter. And
If you can even call in places. Some places it's just like a text reminder.
Push 2 or push 3. And then you get the...
So, we do take people to the grocery store. Some insurances do cover those type of trips, and the non-medical appointments.
Pharmacy stops.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
I think, though, really having staff on hand has been very helpful for clients, especially clients that are elderly, they're, sick. They already have enough to deal with, and for them to navigate their insurance company to try to figure out how they can get transportation, that might be just too much. That might be overwhelming for them. So for them to be able to call in, for us really to be that partner to help them figure out which direction they need to go, really goes the extra mile. We like to say that we go beyond the ride to really help our clients figure out and navigate the system.
Yeah, and that's good because I sometimes think about if my mom were alone, she's with me, but if she were alone and trying to navigate through some of this stuff, she couldn't do it. I know that she couldn't do it by herself, so there are probably a lot of people out there that truly appreciate that.
Yes.
And is it limited to, I guess I'm thinking somebody in a wheelchair or however that works. Are there any kind of limitations or anything like that?
The only limitation we have is our vehicle capacity, depending on the wheelchair size, and depending on how many clients need to ride with us. But, we've very rarely ran into a situation we can't handle. But as far as, wheelchairs, we are one of the largest in Ohio for wheelchair transportation. That's kind of our specialty. But we do have regular passenger vehicles and cars. We try to make accessibility, which is one of our missions, as best as it can be so we can accommodate any kind of client that's out there. We've always been known as a company that is a yes person.
Yeah.
We'll find a way to make it work. And we've always been kind of that company in our industry. So, we take pride in that, and we really want to make sure that anybody that needs this service can get it.
I would say something a little bit unique too is we only transport typically one client at a time. So some providers, they will multi-load, so pick up multiple clients and then take them to multiple destinations. But really for the privacy and comfort of our clients, we have found it to be very important to transport one person at a time.
Yeah, wow. That's you're right. That's unique. That is unique. So very good. All right, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about ReliaRide. It's a great topic.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
All right, welcome back to Spotlight on this Wednesday morning. Pam Cook with you this morning, and we're talking about ReliaRide. Connor Orban is the president. Alina Orban is the executive director, and we've been kind of sharing with you a little bit about what they do. And, you know, we haven't really given a phone number or anything, so if folks are thinking about calling and getting more information, so share with them what number they need to call if they have any questions.
Yeah, the best number to contact us is 330-244-0657. Once again, it's 330-244-0657, and you'll choose from many of the different options that will guide you to the best person that will be able to assist you with this, the service that you need.
Awesome. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the difference between, say, many people might say, well, I just get an Uber and that's how I do it, and maybe that's not the safest way for somebody, right?
Our industry is a very regulated industry that we're in. We're a licensed ambulance provider through the state of Ohio EMS and Medicaid provider. So, most people don't really understand a lot of the background checks or credentialing that all of our drivers and all of our vehicles have to go through. We go through extensive, maintenance checks on our vehicles. The drivers all go through a SAM check, background check, sex offender search, the extensive, amount of searches that we have to do, which are very costly, but, and the insurance that we carry, just as far as if, things were to occur, I think that's really what sets us apart is just the amount of background checks, the amount of vehicle inspections, as far as our wheelchair vehicles getting inspected from the state, and all of our vehicle employee files, and our employees getting inspected from different agencies like the Area Agency on Aging for adults and, Medicaid. So I think that's truthfully if you're somebody that's looking for a ride for your loved one, you can trust our service because of the amount of extensive stuff that we have to do.
Our drivers also go through a lot of training. They do first aid, CPR, defensive driving. So they're really trained how to handle different situations if they were to occur. So that's really different than you might get with a typical Uber or Lyft driver.
Right.
And I know, if I think about if I had a grandma in her 80s and she had to go to an appointment by herself, that would make me much more comfortable sending her alone, knowing she's in the hands of somebody that can really care for her and really help if something were to emergently arise.
Yeah, and frankly, a person whose purpose is to do that every day.
Absolutely.
Because, the Uber and the Lyft guy are waiting for their next, fare. So they're going to say, yep, okay. Yes. Here's your place.
Yes.
Not that they're a bad thing, but
Right.
just that's not what they do. So
just like the assisting, giving someone an arm to hold on to. We are trained on how to do that through our drive course. Through the state programs. So I think that's really, as far as our vehicles being cleanly, we have to have those at a certain standard as well. So just the amount of things that we do really sets us apart. So I think that's truthfully when we think about it, if we had to send our loved ones, we just want to make sure we're reassured that they know who's going to be coming, and that they have all that licensure.
And our drivers, this really fills their cup. This is what they want to do every day. This is a service they feel like they're giving back to the community. So to be able to help your loved one, that's just been the coolest thing, is to see all of our staff really have the same mission that we do. But this is what they want to do. They want to help you get to appointments. And like she said, it's not just like an Uber or Lyft that is worried about maybe the next ride. They're doing this because they want to help and they want to care and they want to be a positive energy for your loved one.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. It does. So we were off the air talking about how many employees you have. It's a lot, right?
It is a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely grown
Yes.
quite a bit over the last couple of years, especially, as we transition to a nonprofit. That has really kind of helped exponentially, our business, and I think a lot of it is, we do go through a lot of screening. We don't just hire every driver that applies for us. We sit them down, either with multiple people and really make sure that their passion and their mission aligns with our culture and our mission and our values, because that's the type of service we want to provide, not just transportation service. We want every driver to go beyond the ride, and have that same passion as us. So, we have grown, from three
I
vehicles.
was going to say, yeah, what was it like when you first started?
Three vehicles in 2012 and one employee to now over 50 vehicles and over 100 employees.
Oh my!
And a shout out to that one employee that came with the company when we bought it. He's still with us today.
Very
so
good.
That's been awesome. We have a lot of tenured employees, and it's been great to grow with them and have them grow with us as we've grown and changed. And
So Ken, if
it's
you're
amazing.
listening, thank you.
Yes.
You see, he's put up with it all the way along
Yes.
the way, right? Through all the changes and
Yes.
COVID and everything
Yes.
else, right? Wow,
Absolutely.
that's great. That's great. All right, we have to break for the news now, and so we'll take that break. When we come back, you're gonna be the history teacher, right? we're gonna let Connor tell us all about the history of the company and where this all started. We'll do that and much more. We'll share with you about ReliaRide and ReliaRide. Yes, we all, I know, have a family member that could use this service at one time or another, or we know someone who could. And in studio with us today is Connor Orban, president of ReliaRide, and Alina Orban, executive director. We've been talking about the service and just, you know, it just makes me think about being safe and really having an option for the people that we care about. Doesn't necessarily mean this is for the elderly, because you were talking about, you know, your brother and having cerebral palsy, or, you know, autistic children who may need help and parents can't do it, you know, and need help. So it's not just necessarily somebody that's an older person that would need your service. It could be any age. But let's talk about the history. Let's talk about the history. As I said, it's time for the history lesson with Connor Orban. The history of the company. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. I think, you know, that really speaks for the passion and everything behind the company. But, you know, so in 2007, the Tracys owned the company, and down on Grove Street by Washington Square. And, you know, it was a couple that just wanted to start by transporting people out of nursing homes, you know, the elderly, and, you know, and the wheelchair-bound clients. So, you know, that's really was their primary focus. And shortly after, you know, they were been running their business, Alina's parents, her dad coming from the oil and gas industry and her mom being a chiropractor, you know, found the need for transportation when Alina's grandfather, Herschel, you know, was in a wheelchair and lived at Windsor Nursing Home and needed to get to dialysis. And, you know, her dad being retired at the time, you know, took on that journey of taking him to dialysis, and unfortunately found that it's very overwhelming, you know, dropping him off and having to go back 4 hours later. And, you know, it took up, you know, a whole
His
day.
day, yeah.
You know, by the time you drop him off, you turn back around. So, you know, they decided that, you know, at that point it was time to find a company. And so one day when they were dropping Herschel off at dialysis, they ran into a Scenic View vehicle, and her mom inquired, Alina's mom inquired about the service, and, you know, quickly found, you know, really about the company and how nice their vehicle was, how professional their drivers were, how reliable their drivers were, and their company was. And so they started using the service. And, you know, shortly after that, David, Alina's father, got a phone call from Scenic View Transportation and said, you know, we're shutting our doors, we're retiring. And him, knowing that he needed this for his father-in-law, decided that, you know, I'm going to try to buy this company. You know, I'm retired early, you know, and maybe it's something for me to do and carry on. And, you know, he felt that smack in his back that it's time for me to do this. So he asked them what the company was, you know, what we could buy it for. And they said, well, we don't know, you know. So he went down to their office, made them an offer they couldn't refuse because it was priceless to him. And came home and told Alina's mother, his wife, that I bought Scenic View, and she
was shocked.
She was shocked, to say the least.
We just needed the one ride.
And shortly after that, she became involved and actually created a lot of the processes, you know, because David was a business guy and she was the attention to detail, and so created a lot of processes that we've actually expanded upon, you know, and kind of fine-tuned to our growth. But, you know, that was really kind of the history. And then shortly after that, I started dating Alina and quickly became in love with it, and spent a lot of my free time when I wasn't out doing sales calls helping out. And so Alina and I, shortly after that, I started dating Alina and quickly became in love with it and spent a lot of my free time when I wasn't out doing sales calls helping out. And so Alina's father and I got into business together, owning a bunch of other different companies prior to me coming full-time on board with Scenic View. And I started helping out in the winters because we own a construction company. And so I started helping out and really became passionate, just because of my brother and the history. And I really felt more passion in Scenic View. And
it was just a very natural fit for you.
Yeah. And so then shortly, after that, we started talking about succession to the second generation, and so, we're very blessed and honored that Alina's parents allowed us to kind of take over the business. And, so shortly, a couple years after that, Alina was still working in the ER. And, when we decided to transition to a nonprofit, I really tried to convince her to come on board. And she really was just passionate about the clients that she got to serve in ER. And she loved her job and just loved Altman ER that she was working in. And, she just kept telling me, no, I really love my job. And so when we transitioned to a nonprofit and had our 2 young kids, she decided to jump on board. And I'll be honest with you, I'm very blessed to have her. A lot of people say that, is it hard to work with your wife? And I would say no. We get along very well. We both have the same drive and the same passion. She really compliments me well.
And I feel like if you're a great team in a marriage, it only makes sense that you would be a great team working together as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and everything that you're saying is like, does it amaze you sometimes the way it all happened?
It's amazing. I feel like this path was always supposed to be.
Yeah.
And we're just on this journey.
Yeah, one of our names was Guardian Angels. That was an option, and it really hit me close to heart because I say a lot of everything I do and just my passion and everything that happens in our business. I always say good things happen to good people, and I always say my brother's looking down on me and would be so proud, and it brings tears to my eyes to even think about it. But, my brother was my world and my whole family's world, and he taught us a lot of things that people never understand and maybe never understand. And, really to worship life, and to help others, and so we're very blessed. And Alina, having Herschel, being very close with him, I'm so excited to see where this company has the future. And I hope, my kids want to take on, the next generation,
We're
the third
definitely
generation.
raising them in the business.
Yes.
They're involved in things, and
Yes.
they may be young, but
Yeah.
it's a family affair, truly.
And that's good. I mean, because of the way it has worked for you guys already. Just everything. There was nothing really blocking your way, into this whole thing.
Yeah, it's everybody's like, how do you find employees? And I said, honestly, they come to us, and it's because just the kind of culture we create. And it's really when the people want to come work for us, they want to check off that bucket list and they want to be able to help out. They've worked their a lot of them are retirees. They worked their whole career.
Yeah.
And now it's time to give back to the community.
Yeah.
And then so for us to transition to a nonprofit was an easy decision because, everything we did, we always gave back everything into the company, and so that's really truthfully what we've been blessed as far as a family, as far as generations, that we've been able to do that. But also, now we can expand on our missions. So we're very excited for the future and what it has to hold.
Yeah. And the need, I think, will get greater and greater,
Well, they say
well, obviously it is already.
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing it already.
the statistics, by 2030, 25% of the population will be over the age of 60. So that's going to be the peak of really, truly what the services will need. And so we're just trying to make sure we can keep up with the demand. And, there's 1 in 5 that have a struggle to find transportation services. So, even though these services do exist, there's always that kind of gap of people that still cannot get this service. And a lot of it has to do with a lot of the loopholes and the hurdles that they have to jump through. And that's really why I am a big firm believer in just having that office staff that's going to go beyond that ride and really truly be that consultant and be that essentially family member that they may not have, and I truly think that's something I want to expand upon, and I'm always going to, keep on in our company.
This is something too, like with our name change, is if 1 in 5 people needs help with transportation and medical appointments, how many people didn't know about us before?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that don't even know you exist, that they have that opportunity.
Right.
Yes.
And we thought with the name change and like really just the rebranding, this makes us more visible in the community. So people see our vans, maybe they look us up online, they see our social media. So we really can reach those people that need help and need our service, that they know there's somebody in the community that can help them with this.
Yeah, because I would venture to say people will be, well, there's, who do I get? I don't know who to get or where to go. And that's very, very true. And the fact that a lot of people will go to a computer and try to find someone, it's a good thought that they can find you relatively quickly and listen to programs like this.
Yeah, it was almost like it was a disadvantage to our community that we were named the way we were, because people were misled.
Yeah, 100%.
We spent our whole time over the last decade just educating people on what we did because they were misled. And now it's like, now that they're not misled and they really understand and it speaks for who we are, well, now we can help more people, and that's really been our mission all along.
Yeah.
How many more people can we help?
Because, also when you look in Google, you get it, or whatever your search is, you get on there and you say, I need a ride, they're going to use that word. That's their word, so that'll help you immensely. That's a great, we love those people. That guy out there, I love that guy out there in the lobby that came with you.
Yes, yes.
All right, we're going to take our final break, and when we come back, we'll just go over again some of the things that ReliaRide will offer you and how you can get in touch with them. Again, on Spotlight, right here on 4. Our final segment of Spotlight on this Wednesday morning, and we've been talking about ReliaRide with Connor and Alina Orban, and we've talked about the history of the company and all the benefits. But I want to talk a little bit about the process. If someone were to call into the company and try to get some information on how they schedule, what they need to do, take me through the process? How does that work?
Absolutely. So, one of our office members will, take the phone call from the prospective client or current client, and what we'll do is we'll do some gathering of information. So we'll try to figure out, what type of insurance they have. If they do know, then we can kind of give them a phone number they need to call to be able to schedule those rides. If they don't know, then we have the accessibility to be able to figure out what type of insurance they have. As being a Medicaid provider, we can get some information from them, such as Social Security number, date of birth, and we can actually look up through the MIDS portal to be able to let them know and advise them what kind of insurance they have and if they would be able to qualify. Obviously, it's a very changing landscape every day, so we always advise them, the best route sometimes is called insurance. But, if we do know, then we obviously can guide them to the broker, and be able to request us to be able to transport them. If they're a private pay client and we can take their information down, they can then schedule the trip via that way. What we do, which is really helpful to a lot of clients, and one of the big advantages we have is, the day before our appointments, we do reminder calls. So,
Okay.
We don't shoot a text. We don't make an automated phone call. We have a human being that makes a phone call to these clients. And if there's information that we do not know, like say if they're a wheelchair client, do they have a ramp at their house? If we can't see it based on the street view, and just get some other information that can make sure the trip goes smoothly, safely. So we'll make those reminder calls. We'll give them the time that we're going to pick them up for that next day, so that they're ready to go. Sometimes some of these brokers give them hours of a window, and we know that especially when it's getting cold and snowing out, just so they can be ready, so that way they make their appointment on time. So we'll call them, give them their appointment, their pickup time, and their appointment time that we have, and if there's any discrepancies, then, we try to help call the doctor as well, and try to clarify that, so that way, if there was an error, there's a lot of human interactions in it.
Yeah.
So if there was an error, we'll try to work with them to get their time changed. So that way they don't miss the appointment or they get there too early or too late, and then they have to reschedule, which, can take a while to get back into the doctor. So, those are the kind of the steps we take to ensure that transportation goes as smoothly as possible for the client. So, we really try to go above and beyond just other than just taking the trips and going with them. So we try to be that extra guidance for them.
And wonder if somebody say they want to go, they need to get to the pharmacy or the grocery store. It's that kind of a call, that kind of a trip. Can they do that and then just pay it themselves, or how does that work?
Depending on if they have Medicaid or if they have a different type of insurance, some things we are prohibited from billing directly to the client.
Okay.
So if they're directly on Medicaid, we can't bill the client directly for those types of services. But we can advise them. Now, like, one of the biggest benefits we have is if they can get it scheduled, we can take trips same day. So,
okay.
Because of our growing fleet and our amount of backup drivers and just our ability and our scheduling and our dispatchers to be able to handle those on-demand same-day trips, that's really one of the other advantages of our company that sets us apart, is just that ability to take those same-day trips or next-day trips, because, when you're somebody that's sick and you need to get in, you can't wait 5 days.
Yeah.
So we've always been a firm believer that we want to be able to help those clients and take them as soon as possible. So, it's obviously a first-come, first-served basis, but, we do have availability to do that.
All right. Give us a phone number for folks to call.
Yeah, 330-244-0657. Once again, 330-244-0657.
All right. Very good. ReliaRide. Thank you, Connor and Alina. Appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you. It's been a
Thank you
blessing.
very much.